the best of Joel Embiid in the first round, and then when we get to the second round, the availability issue certainly kind of rears its head again.
I'm going to tell you, you look at different guys who haven't played for whatever reason, how much of that do you take into account when drafting these guys?
And there was the durability, there was no issues with durability, and now all of a sudden that's the big question here. So I think where you're
significant change in Philadelphia, probably unlikely, but you have your backcourt of the future with Edgecombe and Maxey, and you move forward now with a new vision, and that's something Bob
recognizes that as far as where they are. There's only 2 teams that have players earning more than $40 million next year. Philadelphia is one of
next. You know, the staff is going to be. That's the first priority. Nick Nurse is staying on, though, as head coach.
Bob, how much input will Nick Nurse?
NBA lives on ESPN and ABC.
The stars of today meet the stars of tomorrow.
There's a process for the Wizards. They're going to have to, I think they'll bring everybody in. They will look at all the options, but this has always been wide open. You know, for AJ, I think I could feel the wins change. Number one, you know, you're like who has the highest upside, right? And I would argue he has the highest upside. Now, that may not be what happens, and I think AJ definitely helped himself with where the year went for him.
Point guard and Stephon Marbury and stuff. I think we're kind of transitioning a little bit. Yeah, we're kind of transitioning a little bit away from that, from point guards a little bit. You see some.
We're going to check in on some of the action, talk about some of the players who have starred so far through the first quarter and a half here in Chicago.
Wingspan, yep. You blocking that.
Your recovery is unbelievable.
I mean, your range to be able to defend areas. I mean, we're talking like Victor Wembanyama.
To consume, digest, and evolve a lot in the past few years. He said it's almost been like a crash course, but he has learned very quickly, guys.
Vanessa.
Dalen, so many front offices and decision makers here. What are you hoping to show them today?
Honestly, just being able to play team ball, play together with.
Sure that Darius Acuff, because we haven't seen him play off the ball, I'm not sure how well he'll be able to adapt to that type of role. We have seen Kingston Fleming, 2 guards, top 2 point guards that I would draft in this draft, but it would depend upon my situation as to which of the 2 I would take.
Kingston Fleming, because they can play off ball, but guys who can actually make everybody else around them better, guys who can score the basketball, it's no other than when he's playing on a team like Arkansas, he was needed to be able to facilitate because they had a lot of guys outside of Malik Thomas that were very limited and that needed other guys to be able to.
How many NBA teams have a 6'2" guard that is their primary playmaker? Now, I'm going to move on, and it have more to do with his defense than it would be character. And so now when you look about that, that's the concern.
To what you need, what player fits in the rest of the guys around him, and then as a coach, are you willing to give up a little bit of the time?
Yeah. Donovan Mitchell is a smaller guard, but he plays off the ball. James Harden has the ball.
But he also played with Darius Garland, who's another small guard.
Defense in the NBA today is not the same defense that it was 15 years ago. It's not as much of guarding a guy one-on-one as it is.
You just hope that the decision makers make a decision on how they fit with the other players around them.
And
we come together, get the fireworks started. Yeah, we the life of the party.
You guys are there. It's a really, again, a question of how you want your team to look, right? I think there's a lot of potential with Boozer and Edey if you want to be a half-court team. Remember, Boozer's an
everyday guy. But you look at the type of action that you see from Caleb Wilson, and I'm biased. Really, with both of them. I called their games all year in the ACC. I've seen them.
Let me ask you, Bobby, you don't know who your head coach is going to be, right? And you're going to have this draft in place probably. Well, they'll probably have a coach by then, but that coach.
Tyler Hero here. New York, of course, is playing. Minnesota is playing here. I always say how your season ends.
A momentous UFL doubleheader Saturday.
Playoff push is officially on.
Everybody has a chance to win.
Still a lot to be decided.
First, DC and Louisville clash.
To be drafted or signed to be role players. And that's the thing. Matt Abel's already shown that he can play that role coming off the bench. He
can wait and then have a monster year. There's no guarantees. And then come back next year and potentially be a lottery.
NBA champion head coach.
Yes.
And again, so now those same conversations that teams have with your coach.
Evaluated and put under a microscope to say, you know what? All right, This is where he is. What's his upside? What's his attitude? Can he get stronger?
Here, and there were a lot of pro scouts there, and the first person that they talked about with NC State is Matt Abel. Well, they weren't talking about any of the seniors who were the stars on the team. But no, that could be in the same class. You could have him working out with a Darren Peterson.
Sean, the beauty of this right now, what we're watching here, I think is what a lot of...
Sure.
How many subscriptions are you paying for right now?
I don't know, like 4.
Let's download Rocket Money, and we'll see if you're right. Okay, it actually looks like you're paying for 15, which is costing you $290 a month.
Florida State was already knee-deep in the ACC competition. It took them a while to get going. But this is a young man that was supposed to be, the talent is still there and it's showing up significantly. You guys watched him a lot at Cincinnati, but everyone has known that he's supposed to be good.
Where he just seems to be disengaged and a little bit passive. That has not been the case this afternoon. He's been very aggressive with the ball in his hands and game.
And I think that's the versatility right there. You can play him at that one spot sometimes, that point forward spot. That's what Wes Miller did. That's when their offense was ran.
Can he shoot it better? Who does he defend? Is he physical enough? All these guys are not like, look, they're playing well in a pickup game in the combine. They have a skilled environment.
I said if he could shoot. He's not a lottery pick because he can't shoot. Because his body of work shows that he can't.
Emmanuel Sharp can shoot.
That's a good
guys that can carve out a role. Jaden Bradley did exactly, Coach, as
exactly
Jaden Bradley does.
Yeah, Jaden Bradley, Big 12 Player of the Year, could be Nebhart.
Mike Dunleavy, the 3rd pick in the 2002 NBA draft, and most important, the GM of the Golden State Warriors. How we doing?
Productive, getting some work done, seeing some players, and having a good time.
So you've got a long list on the to-do list this offseason, and it certainly started with bringing back your Hall of Fame
top of it, but I think there's pretty good depth, and we're looking at a wide range of players. We're looking at players we could take at 11, and then we're looking at players we could take at 50.
Back to you.
Bobby, thanks. That's a fascinating team to discuss here at the NBA level. The Golden State Warriors against Steve Kerr, who, by the way, intriguing guys in Malachi Moreno and Flory Badunga.
There's some dudes to watch in this game. Cam Carr playing with Jeremy Fears, kept the dunks. Because, that guy's going to get advanced passes, and his head is going to be at the rim.
And that's where Jeremy Fears specialized basketball last year. But that Michigan State team was very limited off the bounce. So Jeremy Fears had to do a lot offensively when they talk about creation. And I agree with you 100%. He's going to make
type of point guard that can score enough and is that much of an offensive threat to make an NBA organization.
I love Jeremy Fears. I love his leadership. I love his ability to initiate offense. In this moment in time, no one's guarding him.
Layout.
Chipotle Honey Chicken is back. Step into summer with fresh grilled chicken, spicy Chipotle peppers, and
and that's one thing that I feel like he's doing a much better job of right now. And his release point with this elevation, it's so hard to be able to contest, especially with the wingspan.
It's by Jeremy Wu, and he comes out here and puts on this type of performance where it's not just the shot-making ability that he's demonstrated already. He's rebounded the ball decently well. This on the program. His ability to block shots on the perimeter because of his length and his verticality. Had a sensational block on a closeout early.
We're back day 2 at the NBA Draft Combine. Sacramento Kings. You see some of the key players on this team. They own 3 picks in the draft, 2 early in the second round. Of course, the biggest one, the 7th overall pick.
Been used to doing is rebuild a franchise. So.
Well, you had a season that was certainly marred by injuries. I think you didn't even
team in your organization when you go through adversity like that. But I'm someone that always tries to find the positive in that. And what the positive was, it forced
team. I don't know if it's the time to play safe. I think there's a perfect pick for them, and it's the young man that just left our set. Darius Acuff, to me, is the perfect. We may have him at 5, but at this level, the fit matters more simply because, as we see, Carr was. Can't forget
right? Because you're looking at this Kings roster, it's actually an older roster than you would think. And because of that age, going young makes a lot of sense. It's also a corner, or you have a guard on your board that you feel like you can do that, then you'd make that play.
Do they want a quick fix, or do they want a long-term solution?
Yeah.
We talked to Kingston Flemings earlier. One guy who he compared himself to was De'Aaron Fox. And De'Aaron Fox had a lot of success in Sacramento, so that could be another option.
Summer with Chipotle Honey Chicken. It's taking heat and sweet to a whole new level.
Over jalapeno kick. Available for a limited time. Order ahead on the Chick-fil-A app.
The stars of today meet the stars of
A very important Game 5 in Detroit. We are watching one of the great shooting displays in the history of the NBA Draft Combine show.
We saw Jalen Williams have a very similar type of performance here. And J-Dub, believe it or not, came back and played a second day.
Yeah.
And he also was a number
shots. That's an active and alert defender, and his block shots. He's an offensive rebounder. He's a guy who's explosive in transition. Now, look, he's not going to make
your words. Your words.
Pip is about to text me.
Your words, Coach.
Pip is going to text me.
Overreact to what you were seeing. Hold on.
He's doing what he can do, not what he can't do. 6 rebounds, 7 assists, only 1 turnover.
Oh, my. Gillespie with another 3.
That's ridiculous.
I know your dad played, your sister played. Family is very important to you. What role have they played in your draft process?
Honestly, just motivation. You know, they just try to.
Hey, you! Relax! Domino's large one-topping pizzas are just $7.99 when you carry out. But don't act now! This deal's here through this time next year, at least.
DC and Louisville clash in Derby City.
Momentum continues in DC's favor, but it's all about who's going to be the best team that day.
Then Houston and St. Louis battle.
Draft Combine. At the half of a game, Jacoby Gillespie and Cameron Carr have shot the lights out. We're talking about some non-long 2021. He could be had for the right price here in the offseason. Kawhi Leonard was the 15th pick of the 2011 NBA draft. 3-time MVP, became the lowest drafted player ever to win the league MVP. He's coming off
not in the first round, but was a McDonald's All-American and a guy that could absolutely get it done. And you can bring him in as a second-round pick. You're talking to Andrew Nembhard's
ability to rebound in this couple games, like at Utah this year. At Utah, he had 6 offensive rebounds in that game alone. And when you have that motor, that toughness, you think about
years in college basketball. And showing that he could play off the ball, but much more impressive with the ball in his hands. Great positional size and athletic.
LeBaron Filon, to me, at 6'2", is a guy that can also make an immediate impact because he can shoot the ball off the bounce. I value guards who can
I'll go to Kingston Fleming sitting here. Emmanuel Sharp. Very good defensive player. Like he said, put him on Darren Peterson, put him on...
No Ranch Club. Spicy, grilled, original, all ranched up. With a jalapeno kick.
To whoever drafts you.
Yeah, just a winning mentality. You know, just going in and whatever I got to do to win, I'm going to do. Just being an impact player, being adaptive.
Has a 45-point game on a big Monday, shows up big time, and then all of a sudden he falls down at Clemson. Didn't seem like anything.
Of all the other guards that we've been talking about the last 2 days.
Here's my question, because we talk about being a lead guard. I think you have to be able to have a little bit of self-creation. You have to be able to...
Point guards read. Yes, I think both of those 2 guys are point guards. The difference is, can they create opportunities?
The size is good, right? The strength is not. And when he does get to that spot, and going back to that game against Baylor, understanding that he can grow it.
But I guess my question, I'm not trying to be too critical of this young man, but what classifies him as a point guard? When you're a 1-to-1 assist turnover ratio guy.
You don't. A.J. Devonson played alongside Rob Wright, who was the point guard.
Yeah.
But A.J. Devonson, when you look at his reads, he was able to read the backside tag. He was able to read the second layer.
Office view a player like him.
I would love to have 2 picks in the first round. That's how I would look at him. So if I am Oklahoma City, who's at 12, and certainly the lack of... You know, the lack of bigs that potentially could be in free agency, a team like Charlotte that needs a big, Oklahoma City is...
He can be coached hard, which he certainly was. At times he had a shot selection where he relied on his perimeter jump shot a little bit too much.
He goes back to Arizona. I know that the door is open for him if he wants to return. He didn't shoot well in the shooting drills. That was sort of... His shot looked a little different than teams were expecting.
Same-day delivery.
For this point, well, Age goes 7 rebounds with the 29 points. and the multiple block shots that he's had. I mean, I think
there's a lot of players that are kind of, figuring out how to kind of get into that top 20 and get out of the 20s here. And I think he's certainly one of those players.
Decision as to whether, especially if you have the chance to go back to school and even make more money, probably that 26th through 30th first-round pick. But
gap also here. But I've always said this: there are a lot of players who, finances aside, they want to play in this league.
Yeah.
They want to be a first round. A lot at UC Santa Barbara, but there are some things you can pull from here as far as on the court. But this is position and doing things they're not accustomed to do here. But I do think there's some value pulling some things out of this 5-on-5.
And another thing too,
like if you're going to study for the test the night before, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
You better start studying like a year and, well, maybe not for me.
But the takeaway from the second scrimmage of the day was the play of Cameron Carr and Jacoby Gillespie. Carr goes.
We some dogs, and we taking full advantage of this opportunity.
What have you learned through this pre-draft process?
I mean, just how
finally going through this process and so close.
I mean, yeah, it's a blessing to finally be here and to be able to show what I can do in front of on the biggest stage.
Great.
Tomorrow on ESPN. Back with Coach Seth Greenberg, Corey Alexander, Sean Farnham, Bobby Marks here. Bobby.
And through all that, it's a smoke show. They're taking A.J. DeBoss to #1. And I believe that's the way it's going to go down.
They got all the cards, man. They can make
And ESPN. For all of us in Chicago who made these past 2 days happen, so long from the AWS.
He wants to come out here and put on a show.
Just kind of hope he misses, but he came out hot. He made a bunch of shots.
Shump, you said you expected a big game from him after being ejected. He came out with an exclamation.
Hey!
Wemby attacking the rim here was when Minnesota was going to show their experience. The game all tied up at 60.
Yeah, anytime the game is close, you feel like they still have a chance. The Spurs, they went on timely run.
His best game, Keldon Johnson, of the series. And then once again, Gobert off the miss. The Spurs out in transition. What you going to do when Dylan Harper's laying it in like that? Say in the third quarter, they went on a 30-12 run here. So this is the finishing touches here in the fourth quarter. Harper.
I could cock it back.
Double behind the back. Wemby cannot.
There was a time that I was thinking, okay, the double team's coming. They're not even doing a double team. If he gives that ball up, he's not getting it back. There's a lot of times I think that Ant-Man is doing a good job of it. It's just he's not getting the ball in scoring positions. Every time he gets a catch, he's got to protect that catch. Every time he has a...
It's printed, framed, and shipped to your doorstep. You just choose a photo that you love. You can preview it in over 100 frames, and in a couple of days, you're going to receive...
In the right platform, difficult, unless you use Kraken. It's simple. Buy, sell, or withdraw anytime. Kraken. Looks good on you.
From the Raptors, DeBounce to the drive. Oh, my!
This freshman class has been exceptional.
We got action.
That's it, coming from this direction.
Amon Shumpert, 2011. He stole the show, right? He had the best, the state.
You were a mega star. Dude, you...
I'm a guy.
Did you know you were going to do that? You're like, I got all of these.
You know what? What SGA say? I got all